Carnival album. Okay, okay. So you can watch it right here at iColor/Apollo or on Bicep Social. Also, we want to encourage each and every one of you to continue to keep engaging with us on the community chat. Also, please continue to add us on social and tag us at #iColor everywhere. Everyone's feedback, want to keep hearing it, want to keep hearing it. You're loving the inclusion on the panels. You love hearing everyone's stories. Also, shout out to our ASL interpreters who did an amazing job on that panel that you just saw as well. So, since we're talking about the way music moves and shapes us, it's a perfect time to explore the ways in which the leaders in the music industry are driving change. Moderating the conversation in the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer at the Recording Academy and 2020 Ag Color Catalyst, Felicia Butterfield Jones. Take it away, Felicia.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so very excited to introduce to you our next conversation entitled A Very Important Conversation, Driving Change. We are just so thrilled to have this conversation. We first want to begin with a very warm thank you to Ad Color, Tiffany R. Warren, good friend, for your visionary leadership and all the transformative work that you're doing from the Ad Color platform. So just thank you for having us, and thank you to all the sponsors. My name is Felicia Butterfield Jones, and I serve as the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer for the Recording Academy. I joined the organization 4 months ago after spending 20 years in the diversity and inclusion space. And so I'm just so thrilled to bring to you this very, very important conversation. So let's jump right into it. I'd love to first start with intros with my 2 fellow speakers. We are here on behalf of the Recording Academy for this very important conversation. Harvey, I will turn it over to you. Harvey Mason Jr., my boss, interim president and CEO, and also chairman of the Recording Academy. Harvey, take it away.
Hi, Felicia. Thank you for having me. Congratulations. This is a big day, big event, and I'm proud to be here. Thanks to the Ad Color for all the great work you're doing. This is an amazing panel, amazing subject. I'm very excited to be a part of it, very honored and thrilled, proud to be here, and looking forward to talking about the great change we're making.
Thanks, Harvey. And now, without further ado, I'd love to introduce to you all Grammy Award-winning Yolanda Adams, who is just a beautiful person, but also an amazing, amazing artist, songwriter, and overall just amazing human being. Yolanda, take it away.
Thank you so much, Felicia. Hey, Harvey. Hey, everybody. I am excited about this panel today. I listened to a couple of the panels earlier, but I'm really excited about the state of music, what we can do to make sure that we're including folks and making sure that the diversity is in check and all of that. I mean, you guys know I sing, I act, I do all those things, but my job today is to represent the Academy as a trustee. So I'm really, really excited. And I get to work with 2 great people. So there you go.
Thank you, Yolanda. So we are going to start, before we go into the heavy stuff, with a fun music moment. So I'd love for you both to share with the Ad Color audience one of your favorite or most memorable music moments. Harvey, I'll start with you.
So I have a couple of music moments. I'll tell you my first true concert that I went to, strangely enough, and maybe this will explain why I'm the way that I am, but my first music concert was Prince, and I went and saw a Prince show. Somehow my folks let me go. I have no idea why or what they were thinking, but I went, and it really framed a lot of my early creative output and the way I wrote songs, things I wanted to talk about, and the way I wanted to write. But the other thing that I think I'll share with the group is a very meaningful story that affected me as a child and continued to affect me on through my whole entire career and into adulthood in the way that I approach my business. I was a kid. I was probably 12 years old, maybe a little younger, and I was taking piano lessons. I know this is a long story. I'll try and make it short, but I was taking piano lessons, and my dad and my mom were adamant that I practice. You have to practice your music. It's very important that you focus on your lesson and do your scales. And I got so frustrated and fed up with taking piano lessons. I wanted to play drums, by the way. So I had drumsticks, and I beat up my piano with my drumsticks. And as you can imagine, the keys, the ivory keys on the piano, and this is like an upright piano. It was a beautiful piano. I chipped the keys on the upright piano. And I took my frustrations because I wanted to play drums out on the piano. And my dad came home from work. He saw the piano. You can imagine what he did. There was some punishment involved, but the long side of the story is he made me continue to practice on that piano with the chipped keys, so my fingers would like get caught on the edges, and sometimes it would hurt to play. But I grew up playing piano on that piano my whole childhood, taking lessons. They never replaced it. They never repaired it, and it came to symbolize for me uh, working through adversity, taking the responsibility, being accountable. All those things rolled up into one musical lesson. Plus, I learned how to play piano on that piano. So maybe that's not the kind of story, Felicia, you were looking for, but that is a really impactful and memorable music moment that really influenced me as a musician and as a person.
No, that was perfect, Harvey. And I think of, the foresight that your parents both had to instill that in you, and the resilience that it took to continue to practice on that piano. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Yolanda, I will turn it over to you.
Well, come on. I'm the epitome of a person who loves all types of music. My first concert was actually um, it was the Jackson 5. It was 1970. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. And Michael Jackson, of course, was my favorite vocalist. I had this huge crush on Jermaine, and I was just in awe. So I just followed all of their stuff. I bought all of their albums, and you can hear a little of them in my music today. But also, my love of music comes from being a part of a musical family like Harvey. Although my parents weren't professionals, we definitely heard everything in the house from bluegrass to Bach to Beethoven to the blues, R&B. So I have this wealth of appreciation for all things music, and I'm just really, really excited about spreading that message today and making sure that people understand that, music it opens doors. It really does. And it opens your heart as well. No pun intended. But I'm just a music head.
Thank you, Yolanda. And I think of the power of music opening doors, and I'll quickly share my first. It's not actually my first music memory, but one of the most memorable music moments for me was I attended Clark Atlanta University. I'm a small town girl from Wilson, North Carolina. In my freshman year in Atlanta at Clark, I at the time Wu-Tang Clan they still are, but global phenomenon. This is 1996. I'm a freshman in college in Atlanta, fresh out of North Carolina. And I walked, those of you who have been to Atlanta or live in Atlanta know Peachtree Street is a very long road, very long street. And I walked for hours to get to the Wu-Tang Clan store. And once I arrived, long story short, door was closed, and I just took a seat because I was exhausted and waited for someone to come. And then finally, one of the managers of Wu-Tang Clan came downstairs, and I gave my best 60-second elevator pitch on why they should hire me to work for them. And sure enough, I landed a job on the spot. And so my first job as a college freshman was working for Wu-Tang Clan. So that's one of my music moments. And yeah, crazy, right? And so we've gone from Prince, Jackson 5 to Wu-Tang Clan. But I do want to take a pivot, you all. We are in a very heavy, difficult time in the world. I think of COVID-19. Many of us are able to work from home. Many of us have to still get out and be on the front lines of this crisis and pandemic. But we're also facing a racial reckoning in the world. We've seen, so much, kind of come ahead, if you will, with everything that's happening around police brutality and racial justice. And so I'd love for you, Yolanda, to start by sharing with us, if you can, how you're experiencing all of this right now. And if you could, maybe any barriers that you faced in your career and how you were able to overcome them.
It is really a tough time right now in our world, not just just not the United States. It's a world, it's a global pandemic. Trying to make sure that friends and family are okay, not just here but overseas, and then to see the racial disparities that we all experience, on a daily basis, being amplified by of course, now everybody's a roving reporter with their phones. And so you see it instantly. It goes viral instantly. And if you're a person, if you have a heart for anything, or if you have a heart, period, you see that is just, I mean, it tugs at your heart. And to take it over into the music industry, it's I get it like three ways. First of all, I get the bias with my genre because the first thing people say, oh, that's them gospel people. All they do is holler. Then the second thing, I get it within my community because they'll, and I can use his name because I love him so much and he loves me. Kirk Franklin can get so much money or can command so much money. But if I come up and say, hey, I want that same amount of money, then it's like, well, how come that? Well, cuz it's just cuz. So that's a different bias. I have to dress a certain way. And the guys can wear t-shirts and jeans. They won't say that, ooh, that's a live $300 t-shirt he has on. Let me wear a t-shirt, okay? So, whoo, she going way down. Times must really be hard. And then, of course, being a Black female in the music industry, that brings a different type of bias, from either the subdued, not saying too much, or the over hypersexual kind of perception that they have about us. There's just so many things that you have to deal with. And I say all the time that life is about balance. So you have to learn how to balance it. You definitely have to pick your battles. And then you unite with people who have the same mindset that you do.
Yes, so true, Yolanda. And I can of course relate as a Black woman, just facing racial bias, gender bias, and all the isms, especially at a time like this, is hard. Harvey, if you could share with us a little bit about how creators are facing or experiencing the pandemic right now, and if you could share a little bit about the great work of Music Cares and how we've responded.
Sure. Creators are really caught in a funny place because the pandemic is difficult in the sense that you can't collaborate. You can't go to somebody's house or to somebody's studio and do what we always do, which is write together. There's very few people that write 100% of the music and the lyrics all by themselves. A lot of times you're interfacing with an artist or a co-writer, collaborator. And of course, with the pandemic, we're not doing any of that. So we've turned to other platforms, Zoom and things like that, so we can still collaborate and work together. But the other thing that the pandemic has created is, to me, it seems like it's going to be an explosion of creativity. You have a lot of people, writers and artists like us, we're emotional people, and we get caught up in things, and we really are trying to express ourselves through our art. So when there's so much going on in the world, when we're so frustrated with not being able to see our loved ones, when we can't go out and express ourselves publicly, and then layer on the top of that all the social unrest that's going on, both from just the political perspective and our presidential race, all the way down to the social injustice that's taking place, those emotions are brewing. They're always bubbling. And as creators, the outlet is to write and to create art. And I think that's why I say there's going to be an explosion here. We've seen more music released during the pandemic than ever before. I think this year will be our highest output of music as per the streaming companies and different distribution platforms. So we have a lot of great art coming out, and it's very influenced by what's going on pandemic-wise, social unrest-wise. As far as Music Cares, we also have a group of musicians and creators and artists and just generally music people who have lost income. We've lost billions of dollars in income, as it's been reported. And that's people that are going on tour, people that are playing in hotel lobbies, people that are supposed to sing backgrounds at on a cruise ship or do a worldwide tour. All these people are out of work. The people who do the lights, the people who roll in the cartage, who load the instruments. These people do not have the ability to make money. So Music Cares, which is our philanthropic arm at the Recording Academy, jumped into quick action. We started raising money for music people who needed help. And we eventually got to the point where we had raised over $20 million, and we distributed that dollar for dollar right back into the music community. So if you were that bass player who had a hotel lobby gig playing a show and that money didn't come in, you could come to Music Cares and say, I need help. You didn't have to be a member. All you had to do is be a professional music person earning your wage from the music industry, and you could ask for help. And Music Cares, so far, we've given away over $20 million. We continue to raise money. We continue to distribute money. We're still getting calls every day. At one point, we were averaging between 500 and 600 calls a day for help. And that would be for rent money, food money, medical bills, addiction recovery, whatever you need as a music person, you could come to Music Cares for help. So I'm very proud of that effort, and I'm proud that we're continuing to push forward and do more for the music community. And look, I know we're not the only community struggling. Every community is struggling. You know, we look at restaurants and airlines, and every business is hurting. But for us, being the Recording Academy, our focus right now is on our music community.
And Harvey, 20,000 creators have received support to this
So
date.
far.
And so just kudos. And so far, more to come. I'd like to stay here for a moment. And one of the things, as I had conversations with you, Harvey, during the interview process for this role, one of the things that struck me, and I don't know if I've shared this with you before, but one of the things that struck me was the commitment that the Recording Academy had already made to D&I, right? So you and Yolanda and so many of the leaders behind the scenes in the Recording Academy had been doing so much of this work. And so if you could share with us, why is representation important, right? I think of you, Harvey, as interim president and CEO and chair of the board. I think of you, Yolanda, serving as a trustee. Why is it important to have people like us in seats like this? And if you could share with us a little bit more around how this work even came to be over the last year or so, or even before that, Harvey, just a little bit of a peek under the hood for the journey.
Sure. First, I'll say that I believe the Academy should be representative as the music that we look after. And you know, the genres are wide and deep. And I think the leadership should reflect that. I think the people that are making the music should be a part of the Academy, should be a part of the decision making, a part of the rule setting. They should be the ones leading the Academy. And I think that's a wide variety of races and genders and sexual orientations, because that is the music that we represent. So I ran my campaign, I guess I'll call it a campaign, to be chair of the board. It was probably almost 2 years ago, on change. I wanted to see improvement in the Academy. I loved the Academy. I loved our mission. I loved what we stood for. I loved a lot of the programs that we did, but I felt we had a lot of room for growth and evolution. So my platform was change and improvement. I wanted to make sure we looked at everything we did to make sure it was best of class and make sure we were including the right people, representing the right groups. There was equity across everything we did. And I was elected as chair based on that. So I think our leadership, our trustees saw the need for that, and then they were of the same belief. So when I came in initially, we started doing things like figuring out how we constitute our boardroom. Traditionally, it had been just straight elections, and there was no communication between different chapters as to what the makeup of the boardroom was. Did we have enough banjo players? Did we have enough people of color? Did we have enough women? There was no way to determine that because elections were happening at different chapters around the country. Well, now we look at our boardroom and we say, okay, we're missing this genre, or we're missing this racial makeup, or this gender. And we can really, really change and affect the way our boardroom looks and sounds by appointing certain people. That's a big change for us. We also, as you noted, Felicia, made changes to our leadership. Make sure that our leadership is representative of the type of people in the music community that we represent, and representative of the country we live in. That's just so important. And to answer your question, why there's value in that, I think maybe it's not apparent. I think it's apparent that a more diverse group makes better decisions. A more diverse group brings different opinions, it brings different thoughts, and they will lead groups in different ways that a single and less diverse group would not even consider. And I find that to be true at the Recording Academy for sure. For us right now, we have 7 direct reports, and we're very diverse. We have gender parity. We have almost racial parity, but we're very diverse in the leadership. And I find that people bring their own personal perspectives and their personal experience to the table. And then we can evaluate that and take that information in making the best decisions. So I personally have always been a huge proponent of trying to get different voices at the table, different thought leaders in the room. And my style of leadership, I think hopefully you can attest, Felicia, is really to get information, to gather input from different people. Let's hear from all the smartest people in the room. Use the brain trust and the brain power we have at the Academy to make decisions. And I find a diverse group brings more opinions, more varied offerings as far as thought leadership. And that's what I really look forward to and love about working with diverse groups.
Absolutely, Harvey. And I think of, the real character of any D&I operation is the work that happens behind the scenes. And, even when the cameras are shut down and, the conferences aren't happening, is the real work grounded in action. And I can say that, Harvey, you have been nothing but an action-focused and action-led leader. So thank you for doing what you do. Yolanda,
Thanks.
What is a Of course, I mean it. I'm not just saying that because you're my boss. Yolanda, what does a seat at the table look like for you? And as you share, I'll say too, Yolanda is such an amazing leader in our organization. And I said before, when the cameras aren't rolling, I mean, Yolanda is in every meeting, really putting in the hours, putting in the work. So I just want to thank you for being the great example and model that you are in this organization. But can you share with us what inspired you to take on a leadership role and what that seat at the table looks like for you?
Oh, thank you. I love the fact that, as Harvey said before, our main focus is to make sure that there's more than one way to look at a subject or look at a thing or look at a piece of legislation, all of that stuff. When you have more people who look like you or look like someone of a different race, you have this beauty of collaboration. And I think that's one of the main things that I wanted to bring to the table when it came to this organization, having the opportunity through our Texas chapter and then to the national board to represent not just my genre, but music as a whole from a African-American woman's perspective, and trying to make sure that it's not just one of those places that, several people, there's a click here or a click there. No, we're about unity. We're about unifying the body. We're about making sure that everyone gets a chance to say what they feel, and then we take it into consideration. I believe that as an officer, you should be able to take your chapter's concerns, bring them to the table, explain them very succinctly, but then also find ways to collaborate with folks all over the United States. We have a wonderful organization. I believe that what I bring to the table first is a willingness to listen. And then in that willingness to listen, I can look at all of the things that we agree on and say, you know what, that makes sense. Let's work this across the board. So for me, being able to say, hey, we need more money for, as Harvey said, for Music Cares. We need to make the Grammy Museum this, or we need to make sure that the television broadcast looks diverse enough, so that may mean having that tough argument about having an orchestral set on who was it? Slim Shady, Eminem, having that on his television presentation, because those are genres that don't really get a chance to be represented. So I'm always for the underdog. And they know I will always fight for that person or those people.
And Felicia, you know what else? One other thing, not to jump in, but I do think through music, we have a chance to really move culture, right? And change the world, change society. I think music has that power. So for us, it's a little bit of a responsibility thing. I think as leaders, we should be trying to set that example, not just for the music industry and for our music people, but also just for the country we live in. And maybe that sounds overly altruistic or optimistic, but I just think we have a chance at the Recording Academy to change things. And this is really a tipping point in our society. Although we've been doing it for quite a few years, I do think now is the chance for us to lead by example, to show how great it is to be diverse, how effective and how powerful it can be when people of different experiences and different worlds come together to make decisions. I think that's the chance we have right now.
And that's
And I
why
think
he's
of
our leader.
yeah, and yes, Yolanda, and I think of the power and the beauty of community, but also the power and the beauty of sisterhood. So when I first joined the Academy 4 months ago, I'll never forget, it was the week before one of our big meetings. And I'm having this moment of imposter syndrome, like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Are they going to like me? The whole thing. And I'll never forget in that moment, looking across the Zoom, because we're doing this virtually, and or the platform that we were using at the time, I should say, for those sponsors. But as I was looking across the platform and the meeting, I remember seeing your face, Yolanda, and Terry Jones smiling back at me. And I could literally, through the screen, feel the warmth, feel the sisterhood, and just feel the invitation that, like, you are welcome here. So just thank you for that. So we just talked a bit about some of the under the hood internal work that we're doing. We've achieved gender parity. We're close to achieving racial parity. We still have a lot of work left to do. But I did want to switch gears for a moment and talk about, Harvey, what you touched on, which is the role and even responsibility that we have to amplify Black voices, right? And so I think of the tremendous platform that we have with the Grammy Awards, with the Latin Grammys, lots of eyeballs, big audience, and would love to hear from you both on, what is our responsibility at this time to amplify the voices of Black music creators, amplify the voices of key issues, and what role as leaders should we take? And so would love to hear from you first, Yolanda.
Oh my gosh, as Harvey said, it really is our responsibility. Think about it. We're the largest collective of creative folks, whether you are, an actual musician, a producer. And so as the largest consortium of creativity, I think we definitely have to take on the reins, like Harvey said, and let folks know, hey, listen, you are welcomed here. You have a voice here. And as a matter of fact, we're going to help you bring that voice out to the public. I think that's the beauty of what the Academy does. Now, can we do more? Yeah, we're always trying to do more. But I believe that one of the greatest steps was the Amplified Black Voices Council that we did. We also did we did several calls, several visuals. I'll say it like that because I don't want to. Several visuals where people could call in and give their opinions and things. But right now, because of the state of the world, we definitely need to let people know that their voices matter here. You have a place, you have a home, and that's usually one of the speaking points before all of this even started that I had with young people who were like, well, why should I even join? Why should I do this? Why should I do that? Number one, we care about you. Number two, you matter. Number three, if you don't come along right now with where you are and your status doesn't grow, you'll make the argument that it's not the Academy is not relevant. And what we want to do is we want to bring the relevancy, especially to Black voices. We want to be that amplifier. We want to be that megaphone. Hey, guess what? You have a place here, and we'll work with you. That's what we love.
Absolutely. And Harvey, would love for you to share some of the steps that we've taken, starting with Black Music Collective and anything else you'd like to share.
Sure. I know I go back and forth. Different people say, why should I join? What are you doing? And why should the Academy be active in some of the things that we are? Why are we taking certain stands? It's the simple answer for me. Maybe everyone doesn't agree, but it's just the right thing. You got to do the right things, whether that's at the Academy or just in your daily life. Quite often in the past, we've not wanted to weigh in on certain things politically or different types of legislation or take a stand on certain things. But right now, I do feel that is so important, and it's so incumbent on people that can do so, that they take a stand and they try and put a foot in the ground and say, this is not acceptable. This is not going to be something we're going to tolerate. Sometimes that does put us in an odd position at the Academy, because we have people who make music that are on both sides of the aisle, different races, people have different beliefs. But I do think right now is a time when there are not two sides to this. There's one side. It's the right side. And I strongly believe, at least while I'm here, the Academy is going to land on the right side of these issues, and we're going to stand up for what we feel is right. We definitely don't want to be offensive. We don't want to turn people off to the Academy, but I hate to say the same thing, but this is a critical time for us in our country, in our world, in our industry. And I think taking that stand is something that is important that we do, being that we are some of the people that drive culture, and we are the ones that do have a big platform, a powerful platform. We have a voice that can make a difference, that we can drive change. So I think we use this opportunity now to make things better for the planet we live on and for the people that we have to coexist with. And I don't think there's ever been a time like this. Maybe that's me being short-sighted and not knowing my history. I know we've made huge strides as a country and as a nation in race relations and things like that. But I do feel right now is a critical time for us to make a difference. So not exactly the answer to your question, Felicia, but some of the things we have done. One of the things that I'm really proud of is the Black Music Collective. And that's something we've never had at the Academy. In 62-year history, we've never really focused on Black music or Black music creators or Black members. And so this last year, we've instituted what we're calling the Black Music Collective. We have 6 honorary co-chairs, which are going to appoint a leadership council of approximately 25 to 30 people, which are going to be driving and dictating policy for the Academy and hopefully for the industry at large around Black music and Black music creators. We're going to be using them to ask questions and learn and grow. What are we doing with our voting? What are we doing with our membership? What are we doing on our broadcast? How can Black music be better reflected in everything we do? We do see it as an important facet of the Academy because Black music is so prevalent and so powerful within our industry. It drives a lot of things that we do economically and creatively. So we felt the need for the Black Music Collective. That's just one of the probably 10 or 12 things. We're working on an industry-wide rider that we can share with people, best practices for labels and streaming platforms and different groups to look at. Hey, this is what we think. And we're not going to demand or say this is what you have to do, but this is what we're doing. This is what we think is right. This is what we've spent our time building and creating. We hope you like it. If you do, then take part of it and use it in your organization. So things like that. And as I spoke of, making sure our boardroom is reflective and representative of the groups that we think are appropriate, taking that out to our membership. Felicia, you touched on it. We have accomplished great things with our leadership, our staff within the Academy. We still have a ways to go with our membership. We need to increase the diversity and representation in our membership. The people that vote on the awards and the people that do the nominations, that's a group we need to improve. So we've changed the way we do some of the things around that, which I think we'll see improvement. We started inviting people to be members rather than you have to give us your credits and you can't be a member of the Academy unless you do this. Now we're saying, we need you. We need you. We're going out to different groups and we're saying, we welcome you. We need you. We want you. We want to listen. We want to learn and grow with you. So we've invited 2,600 members just in this last class, half of which were people of color, which is very exciting for us, and also half of which were under 40. Those are things that we need to improve on, and those are some of the things we're doing to get there.
As we start to wind down, for some of our younger audience members who are here watching, Yolanda, what keeps you motivated and inspired to stay so vigilant in this work and as an artist, right? I was doing the math the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, I keep saying I've been doing this for 20 years. It's actually 23 years. So I would love to know what keeps you inspired when it gets tough. So if you could share what keeps that fire burning for you.
Oh, first of all, my inspiration has always come from my daughter. She's like my cool point barometer. She always lets me know if I'm doing a great job or if I'm like, mom, you're slipping, you're getting a little corny. So she'll let me know that. But more than anything, I want young people to look at my life, my career, what I do in music, and let them know that there's not this stopping point. Because a lot of us grow up thinking that you can only do music or you can only act between the ages of 16 and 35. After 35, your life is over. There's nothing for you, blah, 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 blah. And well, fortunately, I'm longer than you. so so that means so I get excited when young people are like, well, I only have a few years. And I'm no, 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 you can be in the business 40 years, you can be in the business 30 years. It music, creativity, all of those things, it comes from the soul. So if it comes from the soul, it reaches the soul. And my conversation to young people is always, hey, whatever you have a passion for, that you cannot sleep at night, it won't let you rest, that's the thing that you should dig your heels in. I don't care if you have to do it on your own YouTube channel. Do it until you can get to the place where you say, okay, I'm ready for the academy. Well, that's what I tell them. They're ready for the academy. But seriously, and even in these hard times with this pandemic, one of the things I live by is it could definitely be a whole lot worse. Thank God it's what it is. Let me see what I can do better.
Yes. As I was reflecting on this conversation this morning, I was like thinking about what do I feel like is the common thread between the three of us. And I really feel like it in part is because we've just done the work, right? And so Harvey, as you think about what keeps you inspired and share with us, I think of, if I may, as I look at your body of work, I see so much impact, just proven track record of just doing the work. And so if you could, Harvey, share with anyone watching, especially our younger audience, around like this notion that success has to happen fast or it has to happen overnight. But I think we are all three testament that it doesn't happen that way. And I don't know if I could do it all over again, I don't think I would win it that way either. And so Harvey, share with us what has kept you motivated to continue to do the work.
I think you're absolutely right, Felicia. It takes time. It takes practice. It does take work. That is the key word, work. A lot of people are allergic to work, it seems like these days. And for me, I grew up playing sports. So that was a big deal for me. I had great coaches. I had a great father. They both pushed me really hard and they raised the bar for me. They said, you think you're this good? Well, I think you could be this good. How are you going to get from here to there? And the only way to do that was work. It was sacrifice. It was persistence. It was dedication. It was passion. Those are things that I tried to put into my sport when sport was basketball. And again, my coach, Lute Olson, Hall of Fame coach, really, really changed the way I looked at things. I thought I was a really great player until he said, well, you're decent, but you can be a lot better. And I take that across the rest of my life. When I'm making records, I say, okay, I like this record. It's got to be better. Or I like the job I'm doing at the academy, but it's got to be better. Or I like the work I'm doing with my family, but I think I can work harder. I think I can do more. I think we can improve it. So that mindset is something that keeps me, I think, on edge. It keeps me fresh. It keeps me motivated, inspired. I also think fun inspires me, right? Doing things that I like, doing things that get me excited when I wake up. If I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm dreading doing this, I don't want to do it, then I just stop doing it. I'm not going to do that anymore. When I wake up excited and I'm like inspired to go to the studio or to go to the academy office or to go to a movie set, those are the things that I push. And when I get that feeling, that tingly feeling, that feeling in my heart, it's like, this is exciting. This is fun. This is new. You can really create something here. That drives me and motivates me. And I think finally, the thing that motivates me, and this might sound corny, but I do want to leave a legacy. I want to leave things better than when I got to them. And that goes for everything I touch, whether that's music, that's the academy, my kids. I want things to be better. And I want, when I'm done, whenever that is, hopefully a long time from now, and I'm leaving the planet, people say, he did things the right way. He left some great art behind. He left some great initiatives, great programs, great things. He changed something and he made a difference. And again, I'm sorry for being corny, but I like that. And that's what excites me and motivates me when I wake up. I said, did I do a good job today? How am I going to do better tomorrow? And how am I going to finish this thing off so people respect what you did and think you were worthy of being on the planet?
Not corny at all. I know Yolanda agrees, not corny at all. And I think of how much we underestimate the fun element, right? We do really hard, heavy work. And anyone who's worked with me, Harvey's starting to get to know this, knows I'm a goofball. Like I like to have fun. I crack jokes because the work that we do is so heavy, right? And so whenever I've made decisions personally that were money driven, financially driven, it never works out for me, ever. But whenever I lead with heart, lead with purpose, lead with what impact do I want to leave in the world, it always works out. And so that's what got me here. And that's what's keeping me here, because I really feel so inspired by you both and the work that you've already done at the Recording Academy and the work that we're going to do together. So let's take it home. Yolanda, any final words for our audience that you'd love to leave behind?
Oh my gosh, yes. You pretty much said it. Enjoy life. Be passionate about what you're passionate about. Don't focus on your weaknesses so much that you fall away from your strengths, because, you know how life is, especially right now in a pandemic. Folks are like, oh, but I didn't do this. I gained the COVID-19. I did this. Okay, that's fine. Go walk for an hour and come on back. Eat a salad, do something with your life. But no, seriously, enjoy your life. Life is to be enjoyed, even in the state of the world right now. Enjoy your life. Be passionate about your family. Be passionate about your friends. Be passionate about your work. But like you said, more than anything, have fun. Be able to laugh at yourself, because I do every day.
Harvey, what do you have for us?
I guess in parting, I would say lead with love and lead with doing the right things. And you can't go wrong there. I think these times that we're living in are very trying. Medically, we're worried about getting sick. Racially, we're worried about doing basically anything. But let's reset that. Let's change. Let's come from a place of true heart and true passion. I think it will serve all of us a lot better if we can be good to each other. If, as Yolanda said, we can have fun, enjoy life, driving around, yelling at people, honking at people, getting angry. I don't know if that's necessarily the answer. I know there's a time and a place for really demonstrative protesting and demanding change, and I'm 100% behind that. But in general, let's try and lead with our hearts, and let's try and do things the right way in everything we do. I think that will, in the long run, benefit all of us, just from a lifestyle perspective. And as you said, Felicia, financially, I think if you are doing things because of passion, because of love and dedication, I think they'll result in good things. And that's just the way I choose to live my life. And hopefully they'll help some of the young people listening.
Absolutely. And I'm a witness to you both. So just thank you. And thank you, Ad Color, so much for inviting us and welcoming us to this conversation, Driving Change. Thank you to the sponsors, Facebook, Google, YouTube, and Omnicom Group, for hosting this conversation and this overall conference. And thank you both, Harvey and Yolanda. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Felicia. Thanks, Ad Color.
Yeah.